So now take this question, what we did not complete yesterday. How did Radcliffe, Brown and Levi Strauss study kinship in terms of social structure? How did Radcliffe, Brown and Levi Strauss Tell me, work out an outline. So tell me, what is Levi Strauss social structure? First complete Levi Strauss social structure and kinship. Sunil, what's your answer?
So Levi Strauss believed in exchange, and that's how kinship came.
No, say it in a more fundamental way, more basic.
So Levi Strauss believed in binary opposition, first of all.
First, before binary opposition, what do you have to say?
So structures in the brain.
Exactly. So Levi Strauss believed in mental structures and grooves and through binary oppositions resolution. And marriage is an exchange of women between two groups. Okay. Which means to Levi Strauss, social structure is produced from mental structures. Why is there matrilateral compared to patrilateral? Gifting is done more elaborately. Okay. Why should there be gifting? As a way of resolving the opposites. So to Levi Strauss, social structure is produced from mental structures. So that's how I explain his theory of kinship. Next, what is Radcliffe Brown's theory of kinship? Vishal?
Radcliffe Brown believed that kinship exists to maintain the connections between groups and the people in the groups.
That is true. Social structure is groups and connections. Okay. So he thought of social structure in terms of how certain customs are there to maintain the social structure. So that is to say, why the structure is like that, why there are certain customs. And social structure is a part of what totally, according to Radcliffe Brown?
Social system.
Exactly, social system. Okay. So tell me, can you give me one example of particular behavior as contributing to the stability of social structure?
Taking the same example of Ravati Karve, the North Indian people marrying.
You can take Radcliffe Brown's example here. Radcliffe Brown explained why in some society boy has a joking behavior with a mother's brother. Mother's brother. Yes, father's brother, respectful distance. Mother's brother, very affectionate and joking behavior. He says such a behavior is used to maintain patrilineage. Patrilineage is based on male authority, father's authority. Because father is an authoritative figure, father's brother also is an authoritative figure. But mother is indulgent, and so mother's brother is not authoritative. Joking relationship. So he's saying that kinship behavior is expected to maintain the stability of the social structure. Okay. You can see that's how we do. Whom we regard as a sister, a cousin who will be regarded as a sister. Ego maintains respect. But if she is somebody whom he can marry, then a different relationship. Mother's brother's daughter will be seen differently from father's brother's daughter. Father's brother's daughter is your sister in South India. Mother's brother's daughter is a potential mate. So why this behavior? Many things involved. If with a potential mate difference, there is a difference. With somebody like a sister, it is different. So kinship behavior is related to kin roles. And why are roles defined that way? Roles related to statuses. Why are they defined like that? They are all defined like that to maintain the stability of the social structure. To maintain the stability of the social structure. Okay. This has something to do with patriarchy, patrilocality. Okay. Why in South Indian culture, father's brother's daughter cannot be married? Because in all likelihood, they may be staying in the same household. When there is the same household, brother-sister relationship is better. Whereas mother's brother's daughter is different. Why? Because mother's brother is staying in a different household. Because this is parent locality. So with mother's brother's daughter, ego is not staying. Potential mate. So why are all these rules? To maintain the social structure. So this is about the status and role and social structure. Is it clear? Come to this question, let me give you a different example. Okay. Define status and role and distinguish between ascribed status and achieved status. Asked in 2014. I'm giving you this question. Define status and role. Distinguish between ascribed and achieved status. Status and role. Husband is a status. What as a husband one is expected to do is a role. Status is not higher status, lower status. We are not talking about that status. That status is a dimension in stratification. That status is different from this status. Can you tell me what is the status of you now?
Student.
Student. My status?
Teacher.
Teacher. And soon after the class, what will be your status with you when you are interacting with your family members?
As a sister or daughter.
Sister, brother, son, daughter. Your status will be different. When you go to a hospital, patient or a doctor? Depends. When you are traveling,
Passenger.
passenger. So these are all statuses. So how many statuses can a person have? Is there any limit to the number of statuses?
No.
So each person will have what is called status set. We are brothers, if married, husband, and definitely son, and a friend, teacher, passenger, doctor. These are all status sets. Each status will have a corresponding role. This is not a teacher is supposed to. That is about role. This is not a student is supposed to. That is about role. So status is a position, you can say, in social structure. If you are using the word social structure. Role is what is expected of a status. Social structure is nothing but statuses and roles within a society. Society is divided into groups or positions. Positions are given statuses. Okay. Tell me, when did the status of legislator come up? Status of legislator. Around what time? Was it there in ancient India? When
Yes, sir.
ancient India, legislator. So when did it come?
After constitution. After
Okay.
the
But even before that,
Even before.
you can say legislator came during the British times. He was representing, right? Okay. Status of governor.
British rule.
Became British. Professor.
British rule.
British. Guru.
Ancient society.
Thank you. Guru is ancient. Professor is a different thing. Research scholar. Okay. So society can be thought in terms of statuses and roles. And a person is evaluated in that status as per the way he is behaving according to the role expectations. How far he is behaving as according to the role expectations. Okay. How he is behaving according to the role expectations is what a person is evaluated. Okay. What is socialization? Socialization is about socializing a person into certain roles. This is the way to become a brother, sister. Okay. Sister is supposed to bring water to his brother. Sister is supposed to take his younger brother when he's going out. When she's going out. Okay. So this is about role expectations and statuses. And socialization is done along that way, in that way. Okay, so that's how social structure, socialization, status, and role are all interlinked. And some statuses are achieved and some statuses are ascribed. Legislator, achieved or ascribed?
Achieved.
Achieved. Son, achieved or ascribed?
Ascribed.
Ascribed. So that is the difference between achieved status and ascribed status. Achieved is done through certain work or merit. Ascribed, it is not so.
So we have to explain this with the Radcliffe.
Exactly. Explain in terms of examples. That's all. In the beginning, I mean, how would new roles and new statuses would be created when a new institutions emerge? Is what is called institutionalization. For example, family is an institution. Husband is a result of institutionalization of family. But is living institutionalized? Difficult to say. Because in living, there are no clear statuses and roles. You can give examples like this. In a living, what should a boy be supposed to do and a girl supposed to do? There are no clear-cut rules. As we discussed, if two people in a living are quarreling and they are living in a rented apartment, will the owner come and then say, see, this is not the way you are supposed to live in? Will the owner be in a position to say? It would be difficult. Okay. Which means it is not institutionalized. People are experimenting. Society doesn't have very clear expectations. They don't even have names. Boy cannot say anything about the girl. She is it. There is no one name for it. We say we are in a living relationship and explain a lot about what that living means. Which means institutionalization hasn't taken place. What is institutionalization? Evolution of statuses and roles. When university evolves, you have professor role. When legislature evolves, you have speaker and legislator role. But when those institutions are not there, there are no statuses and roles. There is one sociologist by name Parsons. He says, in the beginning, it would be a spontaneous behavior. And then, over a period of time, people observe, and then they start emulating. Then he will say, statuses and roles emerge. Statuses and roles emerge. which means as a part of social change, new statuses will be created and correspondingly new roles will be created and role expectations will be changing. All this is part of social change. Explain the concept of status and role in anthropology. Fine. So that's about Radcliffe round. Yes. Now take this next question. Critically examine Stewardian view of NeoEvolutionism. Examine Stewardian view of NeoEvolutionism. Okay. Okay. See, neo-evolutionism. Neo-evolutionism is opposed to the old one, classical evolutionism. Okay. There are two people coming under neo-evolutionism, White and Steward. Even if the question is on Steward, you compare his theory with White. How Steward is different from White. Always do comparisons. Comparing and contrasting will enrich your answer. Okay. So in this context, let us discuss White's scheme first, and then we'll compare it with White. Tell me, what are the basic elements of White's neo-evolutionism? What is the basis for the evolution? When would he say society is evolving according to?
When there is a change in energy.
Energy. Energy increase is evolution. Energy increase is evolution. Tell me, is that sensible or not? What is going to be our crisis? Crisis is in terms of a particular use of energy. And we will avert that crisis if we can change energy sources or stop consuming this much energy. So the type of energy is leading to the climate crisis. And if you can change the type of energy, you will solve the problem. Which shows energy is a very, very important role. And I want you to write like this with contemporary dimension. And it's too obvious from Paleolithic times to modern times, one very important variable is increasing use of energy. But during COVID time, energy use drastically came down. How?
All activities were.
All activities came. Okay. So activity is so closely related to energy use. But then, can we say more energy higher? More energy higher, but that's true. But is it simply an energy or something else that defines culture. For example, for the same energy, will the outcomes be equally efficient? Take, for example, manufacturing versus information technology. Okay, which will use higher energy?
Manufacturing.
Manufacturing. But which is capable of diverse forms of cultural expressions?
Sir.
Which is more diverse forms, different variations, but with less use of energy?
IT.
IT. Don't you think IT itself, IT is, it is not in energy increase. Energy decrease, but culture. Which means it is not simply the amount of energy, but also how you. So much difference between the way manufacturing sector uses the energy and IT sector uses the energy. IT sector uses least amount of energy, but lot of culture, lot of variety of things. For example, for us to meet like this, least amount of energy is used. But if the same thing has to be done offline, so much energy requires to be used. So that's why he thought culture is an expression of energy as well as the technology. Energy as well as technology. Plus technology is leading to the culture. E into T. And White thought first we used lithic tools, stone tools, and then Neolithic revolution, and then Industrial revolution, and then later he thought there would be an atomic energy. So that was what he thought about energy as well as the technology, was the thing of both. Okay. So it is neo-evolutionism in the sense that he is making one broad statement. So broadly, societies are making use of more and more energy, and culture is an aspect of energy as well as technology. He is not talking about kinship organization or political organization, religious organization, no. He was making a very broad statement, broadly evolutionary. So broad that it really doesn't suggest much. Doesn't say anything about religion or kinship or social organization. Nothing. So what Steward did was, instead of going for this broad classification, Steward did, there is an evolution, specific evolution, it depends on the culture, ecology. Say this E1, E2, and this evolution. So this school is called cultural ecology. Culture evolving as a response to ecology, but nevertheless evolving. So because it is evolving, it is neo-evolutionism. Because it is a response to ecology, this is not the same thing as classical evolutionism. Because in classical evolutionism, they did not pay attention to this ecology. They thought that all societies are evolving in one particular way. All societies are evolving in one particular way. Whereas in Steward, ecology different. But let me tell you, this is more specific information, more careful. Did Steward think that there is an evolution exactly in one particular way given ecology. For example, if E1 is equal to E2, will this evolve exactly similarly? No. He thought of some broad trends given ecological similarities. This is not again like classical evolutionism, who thought because of psychic unity of mankind, it's exactly the same. Not like that. So there are ecological differences and only broad trends in terms of evolutionary tendencies. Okay. So if in a desert some people are doing like this, in African desert, in Latin American desert also, people will behave in similar way. Okay. For example, can you explain Indus Valley civilization from Steward's point of view?
Sir, repeat the question.
Can you explain Indus Valley civilization from Steward's cultural ecology? Why did Indus Valley civilization emerge exactly at the place where it emerged?
River.
River. Which river?
All Indus and its tributaries.
Indus. And anyway, why didn't the civilization emerge near Ganga? Ganga also was a river.
Because both were conducive for intensive agriculture.
Both were not conducive.
And both were conducive because
So
of the.
why didn't the civilization develop near Ganga? Why should it be near Indus?
Because people from the area of Iran, and they first came there, as in.
That's true, but from that place they could have spread to Ganga also. They didn't have to wait for the collapse of Indus civilization.
Because as mentioned, as per Steward, the ecology didn't change much, or it was constant.
Ecology was a river. Ganga also was a river. So why didn't the civilization develop near Ganga?
Sir, it happened, but at a later date, and the pattern was similar. The second urbanization, which happened in the.
But why should there be so many thousands of years difference? Why should Indus Valley civilization collapse and then much later Ganga civilization, second urbanization?
But the type of evolution.
There was forest near Ganga.
That one,
Iron was needed to cut the forest. There were no such thick forests near Indus. Because the Indus River was flooding certain plains, and on those plains civilization developed. So Iron Age was needed to clear, to get its second urbanization near Ganga. So only in particular places where there was a river nearby and then flooding, water management, then the civilization developed. One person by name Wittfogel gave this theory. These civilizations are called hydraulic civilizations. Egyptian civilization was like this, Nile civilization, Indus civilization, and one civilization in China also was like this. So similar ecological conditions produce similar political and economic arrangements. That's what cultural ecology is. That's what Steward's thesis is. Okay. So if there is a population, if there is a society in a desert, its density will be less. Why? Because there are no resources. So if somebody at a hunting gathering stage in one desert is living like this, hunting gathering stage in another desert also will be living like that. If some people are living when there is an abundant fish at one place, for the same level of technology, some other people will live with that abundant fish in the same way. But of course, if the technological advanced Americans have to live near the fish, they will live differently. Which means societies evolve. It is not that the given ecology, it is given society. Given ecology, given evolution of the society. Are you following?
Sir,
So
can you repeat it?
modern people, it is not that the given ecology, given society. Given ecology, given evolution of the society. Society is not static. That is what evolutionism here is. So if modern people have to live in desert, they will live differently compared to the primitive people who lived in desert. Because modern people are more evolved. They know so much of technology. Okay. So, and here ecology also means technology. Technology. Given the technology and economy, society. It's like that. So this is Stewart's evolutionism, NeoEvolutionism, which is also called cultural ecology. Okay. So somebody said White's is universal evolutionism because it is in general statement, whereas this is specific or also called multilinear evolutionism, multilinear, different ways given the different ecologies. Different ways given the different ecologies. Okay. So, and all these things also come under materialism. What is materialism? Whoever is saying that culture is a response to technology and economy is materialist. In general, these are broadly cultural materialist schools. In general, culture as a response to material conditions is cultural materialism. So hydraulic hypothesis theory is cultural materialism. Though we may specifically identify the word cultural materialism to Marvin Harris, but in general, these are all cultural materialist schools or theories. Wherever culture is explained in terms of technology or economy or ecology, that is materialism. Okay. So this is towards neo-evolutionism. Okay. Tell me, any questions? Okay.
Uh,
Please.
so one doubt, like the way we have talked about the various theories given by Levi Strauss, and then we have found that they were wrong. So about this theory, what is the criticism? It in par with what we have, what it is saying correctly?
Hmm. That is, you are asking how do you criticize Steward's theory? That is the question, right?
Sir, because with all the theories that we have already covered, we have found that they were wrong. Most of them were wrong. So for this theory, I think this is sensible. So I mean, how to criticize it like?
Not really like that. In fact, we are evaluating other theories on the basis of this theory.
Marvin Harris evaluates.
We are going by Marvin Harris theory. Now we're finding it difficult to criticize Marvin Harris. There are ways to criticize. That's a different perspective. So maybe there may be some specific predictions. I don't know exactly. We will come back to this. Fine. Okay. Now, basically, there are some theories. We look into interpretative, cognitive, and postmodern theories, which will look at these things differently. Okay. Then we will discuss how Marvin Harris theory can be looked at. Okay. So when we do them, we may have a different opinion on reasoning like this. Okay. So we'll reserve that. But as of now, technology, economy, ecology, impacting the evolution of the society. Okay. See, sometimes the question is, how sure are you? Aren't there? Is it really true? We'll come back to that anyway. Okay. Take this question. Jordan Childe's theory of cultural evolution. Number one, he is also talking about cultural evolution. Okay, culture evolves. And what he did was, there is more of empirical data here. He proposed, he studied certain civilizations of Middle East and Europe. There is some specificity. He's an archaeologist. He's an Austrian archaeologist who studied Middle East and Europe. There's something specificity about Jordan Childe's theory. Middle East and Europe. He studied civilizations in Middle East and Europe, and he proposed what is called Oasis theory. Oasis theory. Oasis means, in a desert, only at one place there is water. That's called oasis. So he said civilizations in Middle East and Europe emerged when there was climatic crisis around and there were water facilities only at one place. That's why it's called oasis. And the people moved to that place. It means people moved to that place because of certain climatic conditions. And once they moved, there were so many people at one place and they had to be managed. Water supply had to be managed. And those who are not following that order or rules should be punished. And that's how state organization came. Okay. And then he looked broadly how was the organization in Middle East and how was the organization in Europe. And there he found there were so many differences. And so he did not find any generalization. No generalization. So he said there is a Oasis theory, but I am not able to arrive at any particular generalization because there is so much of divergence and convergence, and maybe historical factors will explain. Historical factors. So this in a nutshell is Jordan Childe's NeoEvolutionism. Okay, Oasis, under certain conditions, civilizations evolve, mostly climatic factors. And when civilizations evolve, there are certain features. Okay, but it was more like historical factors. Okay, he didn't accept that there should be one way to develop. And here, Marvin Harris has something to say. Marvin Harris says, Jordan Childe looked at only Middle East and Europe, but he did not look at Latin America and others, Americas, because of which he did not actually see the generalization. So he says, Steward followed Wittfogel's hydraulic hypothesis. The others have developed theory of hydraulic civilizations, whereas Jordan Childe failed to develop because he did not really take into consideration all the possible cases. So according to Marvin Harris, he narrowly missed theory of cultural materialism. He made it more particularistic rather than materialistic. Though very clearly, theoretically, he stated materialism. That is Marvin Harris' judgment. So he didn't propose a general theory that technology and economy is bound to create a civilization with these features, with these certainties. So he didn't take that position. It was more like a particularistic. And Oasis theory, as of now, is not well accepted. Climatic factors may have played a role, but civilizations, now historians think, did not develop because of Oasis. Okay, they developed around Oasis, but it is not because of Oasis. So that is one objection to Jordan Childe's theory. Okay, so he says Mexico or Peru, he didn't see. So that is about, so you can write about Steward and Wittfogel and work of Jordan Childe. Okay. Next. We did fieldwork tradition. Okay. Let us briefly review Marxism and let us examine the link between Marxism and materialism. And okay, tell me briefly what is Marxism? Marx two-part division of society. What is Marx two-part division of society?
Base and superstructure.
Base and
Superstructure.
superstructure. So if you are doing like this, it is base and superstructure. Okay. Now tell me, what is there in base? Sweta, can you answer this? What is there in base?
So technology
Yes, technology.
and economy.
Economy. Yes. Technology and economy. Now I will ask you classes. Classes and class conflict. Where will it be in this scheme?
So classes and class conflict.
In this scheme.
The social structure.
Where is social structure? Is this social structure? Sorry.
Sorry. This is superstructure.
Exactly. Superstructure. Superstructure. So you mean to say classes are there in superstructure in Marx scheme?
So Marx defined classes on the basis of economic.
That's true. But where are classes in this diagram? Base or superstructure?
Superstructure.
No. They are part of base.
Okay.
Class is economic group. Which means in Marxism, base consists of not only a technology and economy, but also classes. Because class is an economic group in conflict with others. Do you follow now?
Yes, sir.
So class conflict is in base. Okay. And political system in this scheme?
Political system.
Political system.
Superstructure.
Exactly. Superstructure. Religion.
Superstructure.
Educational system.
Superstructure.
Media.
Idea.
Media.
Superstructure.
Media.
Media.
Idea also superstructure.
Yes.
Judiciary.
Superstructure.
State. State.
State. So state. Superstructure.
State superstructure. Nationalism.
Superstructure.
So, except technology and economy and class relations, everything is superstructure. Is it clear? Tell me, do you think Marx included ecology? I mean, going by this. For example, Marx is talking about desert versus some, say, hydraulic civilization. So
No, sir.
Huh?
No.
But can you say then Marx did not pay any attention to ecology at all? I mean, how would he include it in this, something like this, in this framework? A desert.
I don't think so. Marx had taken ecology.
That's true, but Marx must have thought about ecology. He may not have said exactly about ecology, but how can one put in ecology here? I mean, don't you think economy and ecology, technology, they are related? What is technology without reference to ecology? Isn't it? Technology is about how to handle a desert, where if you are in a desert, isn't it?
Yes.
Indus Valley civilization is about technology, about irrigation technology.
Also about ecology. Yes, sir.
When one is talking about technology, one is also talking about ecology. Because what is technology? Technology is about how you handle nature, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So in that sense, Marx must have thought, I mean, definitely he tried to think that all such conditions are included in the base. So basically economic factors and economic classes. So people and infrastructure, economy related, but economy meant ecology, technology, everything. In fact, Marx used economy only. We are just saying that economy includes technology, agriculture. Agriculture, you can say it is economy. It can also, you can say it is technology.
Technology.
Also ecology. Will agriculture be possible in certain desert areas? No.
No.
Agriculture under hilly terrain will be different from agriculture in a valley and agriculture in a river basin. So when you are thinking of agriculture, then definitely you will think of where this agriculture is taking place, which means ecology, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So if somebody is considering ecology, is he deviating from Marxism or following Marxism?
Following Marxism.
Following Marxism. So is a Steward materialist? Yes or no?
Could be. Yes.
No, from what you understood about cultural ecology.
Yes, sir. Because
Why? Because ecology is nothing but techno-economy.
techno-economy and
Is white a materialist?
yes, sir.
Energy. Materialist. Because what is energy is techno-economy.
Economy.
So Marx thought of in a parsimonious way. He just looked at economy, but to him economy meant ecology, technology, everything. So basically this is infrastructure, but then also people. Why did he include people also? Because basically he was thinking economic versus non-economic. That is why he included infrastructure plus people, and in superstructure non-economic. Okay. So economic factors influencing non-economic factors. That is materialism. Economy can be thought in terms of technology, ecology, whatever. So Steward is a materialist. Jordan Childe is a materialist when he stated theoretically, though he may have missed certain points. And White is a materialist. So materialism in general means technology, economy, or ecology impacting the culture. Whoever is saying it is a materialist. Can you tell me very clearly these people are not materialist? Can you give some names? Of the people whom we discussed. These are not materialists.
Levi Strauss.
Levi Strauss is not a materialist. To Levi Strauss, what is the source of culture?
Structures in mind.
Mind. Mind is the source of culture.
So classical evolution is also not.
Exactly. You are rediscovering. So what did classical evolutionists say? Did they say techno-economic factors are impacting evolution? They just said evolution is taking place because that is how people evolve. So they are not materialists. How about diffusionists? Also not materialists. Historical particularism, culture and personality. No. So only the thinkers we are discussing today are cultural materialists. Others are not. So whoever takes the position that technology, economy, and ecology impact other aspects of culture is materialist. So evolutionists thought that that is how culture evolves and they don't know the reason. Diffusionists thought that somewhere, somehow evolution takes place and it spreads. They don't know the reason. Historical particularists, they don't know anything. They don't know the reason. It is about, let us find out more empirically. Culture and personality is about the connection between culture and personality. They have not explained how culture is coming from materialistic forces. So only whom we call cultural materialists are cultural materialists, not everybody. Okay. And structuralists took a very clear stand that mind is the source, going opposite. In fact, evolutionists also, it's a similar assumption. Mind is the source, psychic unity. So who is the originator of the idea that technology and economy influence other aspects of culture?
Marx.
Marx. So it is from that these ideas came. So
Fraser also. No? I mean, we can feel Fraser.
Fraser also is not materialist.
I mean, Marx thought he was a materialist.
No, it was not about Fraser, Morgan.
Ah, yes. Yes, Morgan.
Marx thought Morgan was a materialist, but Morgan never had the clarity. Morgan classified things, but he didn't take a position that material factors produce culture. He didn't take that position. That's why it's about confused eclecticism. Marx saw materialism in Morgan's work, but Morgan himself did not see that. So is it clear? So all this is Marxist inspired ways of looking at culture. So these are all theories of culture. Ways of looking at culture. So these are all the ways by which people thought what is happening to culture. Why is it what it is? Okay. Now,
Sir, one question.
tell
Let's
me, is functionalism cultural materialism? Yes or no?
No.
No. Malinsky did not think from technical factors culture is evolving. He thought human needs, Human needs give rise to particular habits, but he doesn't know why those habits should come that way. No idea. Is Radcliffe Brown cultural materialist? No. That is about functionalism. Functionalism in general is about how things are, how they are interrelated, and how they produce the unity. But they don't explain why those things come in the first place. Functionalism is about interrelatedness, coherence, unity, function they are serving. So that is why cultural materialism is a distinct school of thinking influenced by Marxism. Is it clear, Vishal?
Yes, sir. But is it the most accepted?
Most accepted because this is how textbooks have been written so far. This is the most advanced, but I mean, this is not the last word, but reasonable, most advanced, very reasonable. But we look at other ways of looking at culture also. Okay.
Sir, what is substantivism in the book? It's
We did it when we were doing economic anthropology. So you can watch that video, substantivism and formalism.
Sir, one down.
Okay.
Sir, we only looked at materialists that all the new materialists we covered looked at the technological factor, and that's why we call them materialist.
Exactly. Technology factor, economic factor, ecological factor, all one and the same.
But let's say if some
Thought in terms of economy, can be thought in terms of ecology. What is the technology is about? It is to manage nature only, isn't it?
sir, but let's say there's some theory which only talks about, let's say, classes and nothing else,
Talks about
just
what?
classes.
Classes.
It doesn't talk about technology, nor it talks about conflicts. So can
Let
we
us
say
talk
that again?
only classes and not technology. Nobody did like that. The people who are influenced by Marx in anthropological context divided the society into three parts. Technology, economy, or ecology, groups, people, social organization, ideas, and others. This is a three-part way of looking at the society. Instead of keeping economy, technology, and also classes in one part, people in another part. This one. Now tell me, where is Radcliffe Brown's social structure in these three parts, according to Marvin Harris?
second.
Second part. Exactly. First part, second part, and third part. Please explain, explain, explain. Let me tell you, if you are writing, the examiner will be understanding and reading for the first time. Because this is not part of any book. I mean, part of only Marvin Harris, very few people read. And very few people among those who read understand it. So it is rare is a privilege where you feel you are above the exam. Enjoy that. Many times exam is much above you or us. So make it into an advantage, please. Make it an advantage. So you're able to look at everything in a broad way, right? That itself will help in the examination. Speak broadly, give a broader perspective, linking, interlinking. Okay. Questions are simple, and I am sure that answers are much simpler. So social structure is here. Why thought is important, difficult to understand is that it requires background in sociological thought, plus it's abstract.
Sir, I read Anudeep's article on that and I got scared, and now it is looking simple. I don't know. This is also scaring me that it is looking simple. It is scary. How can it be simple?
Because of the book and we are explaining it that way. In fact, I mean, I was shocked that the market did not discover because they, I mean, I don't know, just memorize some points and get marks. That's how they got used. Anybody should see this is a book which is explaining and other books are not explaining. So this is the social structure. So anthropologists influenced by Marxism looked at the society in three parts. So the social organization and ideas and other aspects. So this is
Sir,
the,
is Weber also a materialist?
no. Weber very clearly argued that materialism is not entirely true. Ideas influence economy also. So Weber is taking a position opposite to Marx. Levi Strauss also is taking. Levi Strauss knew Marx, of course. Okay. So some people did not explain in terms of materialism. They are not materialists. Some took the position opposite to materialism. They are called idealists. They are called idealists. Levi Strauss is an idealist. Dumont is an idealist. Whoever thought mind is making the culture is idealist. Idealist is not in the sense of ideal person. Idealist in the sense that ideas shape culture. Idealist in the sense ideas shape culture. That is idealism. So Levi Strauss is an idealist. In fact, many people whom we are going to discuss are in future are idealists. Okay. So idealism, materialism are two broad schools. Is mind the source of culture or material factors the source of culture? How do you explain culture? So these are various views of culture, various ways of looking at culture.
Sir, all this debate about the source of culture is over now, as of now, in current
It's
scenario.
not over. It is not over. Now, Marvin Harris may look like a last word because it is from Marvin Harris' point of view. We looked at previous theories. But Marvin Harris is not the last word. We are going to, last word as of now is postmodernism. Postmodernism is the reigning theory in social sciences, in all disciplines, sociology, anthropology, political science, psychology, everything.
Sir, what according to is this conclusive stand? What influences culture? All thinkers, some part of everything.
In fact, one conclusive stand in social sciences is that if we are discussing the past, it is because there is some truth in it. Unlike in science, we don't discuss whether heat is a form of energy or not. Heat is a form of energy, settled long ago. But why do we discuss evolutionism? There is some truth. Diffusionism, obviously there is too much of truth. Okay. And sometimes, though ideas seem so false, they make us think. For example, how do we know that somebody is thinking that technology is the source? Only in opposition to the idea that the mind is the source, isn't it? If somebody has not proposed mind is not the source, Marx wouldn't have thought that mind is not the source and something else should be the source. This is how social sciences are different. Anyway, scientists read history of science also. But normally students don't do history of science, but history of science, I think should be part of the curriculum if you ask me. Because we don't have history of science, we tend to think science is final, which is not true. Science is not final. Okay.
Morgan have also attributed this all cultural traits evolution to some divine factors also, like some,
That's true. That's true. Morgan was not sure.
so that is also is there. So do you think that is also is there?
No. People don't know what the source is. And in fact, that will be the most important theory of all times, that we don't know.
After all this also we still don't know. After all
Yes.
this,
Oh, that's what you are saying. Yes, very much. On Monday, we are doing religion. We'll explore all kinds of things.
Sir, the way we talked about the uh, Marvin Harris approach and the mind is the source. So isn't the Levi Strauss correct in saying that we have a binary opposition because we are only realizing what he indirectly said?
That's true. We think in terms of we, they, but the point is, why should we have grooves somewhere in the mind? We think in terms of contrasts, comparisons. In fact, Kant, who said there are mental structures that make us think in terms of why, how, when, what. So there are certain habits of mind, but they're not certain structures of grooves in the mind, and they're filled in a particular way. It's not like that. That is why even if you come to the last point, you don't need the structures. Even if you prove, for example, in kinship, even if you prove these kin organization is there to produce unity, even if you prove that, still you don't need structures. They are to produce unity, and so they are there. That's all. Long cycles are needed. Long cycles will give rise to more unity. That's fine. But still, why structures again? Structures are needed, not needed at all. When you are proposing something that should be necessary to explain the data, that necessary element is not there in Levi Strauss theory. Either he should prove that these are actually the structures with photograph or something like that, or when they are not needed, discard. He's not doing either.
Sir, on a lighter note, let's say if someone has really found some grooves in the brain, then structuralism would have gone, I mean, to the
Oh,
best it can.
we don't think in terms of what proof one can give. What is the proof one can give? What structures? When you open it up, it's just people know. I'm very clear about micro space within the brain. Brain is so closely analyzed, but even after that, we have no clue to mind. After close analysis of brain, we can't say why we compare. Where is the space for comparison in the brain? No. So that is a mystery. Nobody has a photograph of mind.
you're distinguishing between brain and mind as
Mind
physical
is
and
something, brain is something that can be touched. Mind is software. Can you touch software? No. Mind is like that. Okay. Now, last topic. Cultural materialism, this in general. So if the question is on cultural materialism in general, specifically, then it is Marvin Harris. But you can mention others also. Marvin Harris himself said, I am not the one who started this school. There are many others. It is just that I am the one who coined this word, cultural materialism. He is right. Okay. In fact, there is nothing originality or unique about this school. It is simply applying materialism in the anthropological context. That's all. Explaining culture in terms of materialism. Anyway, why cultural materialism may look very obvious is that when you are reading a textbook like Ember and Ember, it is written in a materialist perspective. Okay, Ember and Ember explain, for example, we read in terms of warfare leading to this, scarcity leading to this. That is all materialism. So that's how a great school will impact social sciences. So textbooks will be written on the basis of that particular perspective. So that becomes almost like a truth till somebody opens up completely new perspective. Then we will think how, oh, so many books were written in a particular way. You will not know that it was written in a particular way till somebody points out that there is some other way. Indian history is truth till somebody sees the Pakistani side. So it is like that. So Marvin Harris cultural materialism, more specifically, he is saying, he is giving a particular equation. He is saying technology plus environment leads to economic relations. Tell me, what is this about in Marxian framework? Technology and economy, economic relations.
Yes.
Base. And then this leads to social groupings and beliefs and values. So technology and economy leading to economic relations, then leading to social groups, beliefs and values. So if you are thinking in terms of three parts, what is the second part here? Economic relations and social groups. Beliefs and values, third part. So whatever way you look at it, base divided into two, and there are ideas and beliefs above. So this is cultural materialist strategy to Marvin Harris. So one famous example in the context of India is the way he explained sacredness of cow. How is explained in terms of cultural materialism? He said, India is agricultural economy and oxen are needed for traction, for plowing, which gives cow. Cows are giving not only oxen, also cow dung for cooking, fertilizer, and then also protein for lower castes. This is an important point. Recently, cow became an issue. Some people were giving the impression that Hindus don't eat. No, upper castes don't eat. In that sense, lower castes have exclusive protein source. Lower castes eat. It's not that simply cows are disbanded. Not like that. And then, of course, you have hides, or leather related. Which means every part of the cow is being used, including as protein source, fertilizers, cooking purpose, traction purpose. And more importantly, Marvin Harris says cows are not taking any resources. Unlike in the West, where food is grown and given to the animals. In India, cows roam around. So that may make them not so strong, but then they're scavenging. So they are taking resources free and giving so much. No wonder they are sacred. So at the core of agriculture, because agriculture is important, oxen are important, and subsidiary purposes, and then finally eaten. So this explanation, sacredness, that is belief, explained from technology, ecology, economy. This is what cultural materialism is. If you say cow is sacred because Vedas said certain things like that, anyway, Vedas did not say that, then that is not materialism. So something becomes sacred under certain circumstances. So cow was one exotic thing to outsiders. Why these people worship cow? Okay. We worship snakes also. I don't think anybody explained why we worship snakes. But then India also is famous for snake charmers. So we don't know. Nobody explained, but Marvin Harris explains why cow is sacred. Okay. And anyway, even before Marvin Harris, Jyotiba Phule was saying that you are eating cows and it is affecting the economy, isn't it? And of course, Buddhism's non-violence became popular because, and through animal sacrifices, a lot of required wealth is being killed. Okay. So thinking in terms of ecological, economic factors is cultural materialism. So give this strategy and explain this what Marvin Harris. But cultural materialism, otherwise, is a broad school, not confined to Marvin Harris. Okay. On Monday and